Disruption Networks.
We are live and direct. It is EC Radio. It is the House Arrest Podcast, the Universal Lockdown Podcast, Local Music Monday. I don't know. We got so many damn accolades. I don't know what it is anymore. But I do know we're live on Disruption Network. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms. Yeah. How are you? I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. It is your old pal Z. Yeah, now joining me like always on every Local Music Monday, as we do here every Monday. In fact, not only my co-host, but tomorrow is his birthday, so I'm going to crack open. I'm going to go crack open one of these Saranac green teas. Thank you to my sponsor, Saranac. We're going to crack open one of these. Justin Smithson, happy early birthday, my friend. Cheers.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, Justin.
Man, how was your weekend, brother?
Can't complain at all, man. You know, it's the good thing, I guess, if you want to look at some positive from this whole thing, is I can spend a lot more time with my family. So that's been a very positive thing for me. But other than that, I'm really itching to get playing again. I really can't wait to get out and perform for people, you know?
Yes, indeed. So it is Local Music Monday. You are the co-host. Introduce our guests, please.
All right. I have Mark Macri is here, and he's been a very dear friend of mine for many years now, and very, very happy to have him here. Say hello there, Mark.
Happy to be here. My first podcast, so be gentle. So
everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
I know. Good, and I'm happy to start with you guys. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Now, Mark, man, you've been in and out of the Central New York music scene for God. Remember back in the day when you would open up the Observer Dispatch and you'd see the little ads in there?
Yeah.
I feel like every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you would see Mark Macri, Danny Holmes, Paul Case, John Liebing, right? You'd see all the you were always in those little classified ads, not classified ads, but all those little ads for the bars back in the day, man.
I'll tell you, back like so I went solo in '91, and honestly, because I played with Danny a year before that, so like '90, like late '89 to right around the beginning of '91. I went to, so I was playing with Danny, and then Memorial Day weekend. So the 24th will be 29 years for me. This coming up May 24th will be 29 years I've gone solo. But to your point, I did play more in Utica than I think I did in Syracuse for quite a while, because I mean the scene was healthy, the scene was really healthy, and then playing with Liebing on Tuesday nights. Besides my solo gigs, you had Cavallo's. I played pretty much Cavallo's, the Valley Brook, Killebrew, the Auburn. What am I missing? So did a bunch of them.
So many, and that's the one thing that we're lacking lately. I feel like is, well, of course, because of COVID. Before COVID was the music venues and the owners willing to take a chance on booking some of these artists and whatnot. You mentioned John Liebing. John Liebing is the author, I would say, of my theme song.
That's right. Yeah. Well, not a bad choice. I mean, he's an asshole, but he's a great. he's a great. He
won't come on my show. He will not come on. I've asked him so many times. He will not come on. Can you talk him into it for me, please?
John doesn't like to leave his house, unless he has
the perfect time to do it.
Exactly.
I know. Figure that out, right? I mean, you're handing it to him on a silver platter.
Sure.
So, I don't know.
I got to ask. There was times back there in the early '90s when you guys were all like solo and stuff like that. There were times that there'd be like you'd be playing at the Valley Brook, and the rest of them would have a night off, and they'd show up, and you guys would all jam together. And I've seen a couple of videos with that, and it's quite the all-star lineup.
Well, I don't know. I'm not good with compliments. I appreciate that, Justin. But I've had. I can't complain. I mean, bottom line, Central New York has a very, very powerful music scene.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And the thing is the one thing I'll say when I moved to Orlando is that because of there's so much opportunity in Orlando because of the climate. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a guitar can get a job down there. Wow. And I might come off sounding, I don't know. I don't know. It could be distasteful, but there was a sea of mediocrity down there. You know what I mean? Like I lived in Orlando for 9 years before I met a drummer that I would play with. Wow. 9 years. Yeah. So, that's not the case here. Whatever you need here in Central New York is a phone call away. You know what I mean? That's why I put 27 musicians on my last CD because of Central New York. I mean, it's just whatever you need, whatever kind of style, it's right here, and they're all good players, really good players. So
speaking about the album, talk a little bit about that. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite experiences I've ever had, especially because working with you guys and being a part of that was just quite an amazing thing. So go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
That album took 5 years to complete, and about $30,000. You know what I mean? That was an expensive CD, but a lot went into it. Like, we didn't really spare anything, and I don't know if Justin. I know Justin enjoyed working with Pat McDougal, the engineer that I had on the project. The greatest story is the fact that Ron Keck, the owner of Subcat, Pat McDougal, and I, the three of us, we all went to college together.
Oh, wow.
We were kids together at OCC in the music department, right? Wow. And then Justin, Ron, Ron stayed in it. Obviously Ron's a great engineer too. You know what I mean? Do not get me wrong. You are in good hands if you get Ron Keck at the control board. But what had happened is that when I started the CD, I want to say maybe 2011. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, so 12 maybe. So like I said, over the course of 5 years, because I was living in Orlando, so I would do it in the summer when I was here, because I'd be here for like almost 4 months a year, right? I would do like 8 months down there, 4 months down up here. I would always come home this summers. It's just too hot, Plus, this is home. This has always been home to me. And then I would fly home in the winter time, or in the spring or whatever. It'd take literally 4 or 5 days and spend 12 hours a day in the studio, trying to get things done. And I think when Showtime came in, we were trying to fit all of that in.
You were wrapping it up. Yeah.
Right. That was one of my times that I flew home, right, Justin? I wasn't even home yet. So, we really didn't spare anything. I mean, even had Bob Katz, the world famous Bob Katz, like master of the CD, who's done David Bowie and Stevie Wonder, and he was so cool, and he's so cool to like individuals like us, like indie guys, that he doesn't have to charge us the same as he charges like the big company. So he was awesome. The guy was so cool, real down to earth, and obviously did an amazing job. But, Pat, so 30 years later, over 30 years later, Ron, Pat, and I are doing a project together, and that's such, so, you're dumb kids when you first meet each other, and then, 30 years later, we're in the studio, and it's, we're making some real magic. And I always said that the next CD I did, like before, obviously this came out, I said, I'm going to have bands, I'm going to have Showtime, I'm going to have Los Blancos, I'm going to have Trainwreck, my band, Trainwreck, in full band mode on the CDs. And because they're my favorites, right? So, and that's, obviously Trainwreck is mine, but I mean, Showtime and Los Blancos, they're like, some of my favorite guys ever. And I'm
Can't go
like,
wrong there.
Well, and then putting gospel vocals over the Los Blancos track.
That was so incredible.
The song "Worry," the last song on the album, because a couple songs were around like the passing of my mom and paying tribute to her. But I'm very proud. I only have like one real production call, because I produced the album, me and Pat co-produced, that I probably would have taken back. Was a snare part like in the 9th tune, but other than that, I felt good about it. Felt real good.
Sure.
About it. Yeah.
Mark, I'd like to know who else played on the album.
Oh boy, you're going to test me now. So okay, so Los Blancos. So that includes Colin Aberdeen, Steve, Mark Tefalt, and I wanted the older one, so I took and Mark Nanny came in, even though they hadn't really played together in a while. But Mark Nanny came in because I wanted the four of them to do this track, and they did the last song called "Worry." Plus, I had gospel singers, which were Ava Andrews from Cookbook, who like she's just a beast. And her, you know who she is?
I do. Yeah. I know Dave Hanlon too as well.
Okay, so. Yeah. So Ava,
sure. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Her sister Marcia Hagen, who has like, I mean, I don't know how many octave range she has. She's another like just an absolute badass, right? And T Davis, Jen Davis, but they call her T. She did like the higher vocals, and so you listen to the CD and you know with what Pat did and the fact and like a technical thing would be that you didn't have to worry about the pitch of these three women, so they could be in the same room together. You didn't have to separate them because if you had to alter a pitch for one of them, you didn't have to do that. So they sang in the same room together. And, you know, it was, you know, so that in a studio thing, that could be tricky if somebody sings off key. You can't edit just one voice. You see what I mean?
Right.
So it can be tricky, but you don't have to worry about
right on.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about these ladies. You tell them basically what you want, and they're gonna take the ball and just hammer it at the goal line. You know what I mean? So they do everything that I do. You know, they make better. You know, so I was so you got Los Blancos, Showtime, obviously. Justin, Joey, huh? Oh. Right. So Justin, Joey, Jerry, Mike, and Jose. You know,
the whole band came, huh?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, not at the same time. I wish it could have been at the same time, but you know, we were doing, like I said, I was literally flying home for a week to try and fit more of this in to get this done by the year 2016 to release it by October. So because we had you know, producing is crazy because, you know, once the CD is recorded, now you got to go back and listen to every single note. Bob Aquaviva, if you're listening, my God, I thought about you a whole lot because he was my producer for, the first two albums. So, so who else? So Trainwreck, which would be Lenny Milano, Cremo Liss, Tim Bowler, and myself.
What a lineup!
Oh my God!
What a lineup, dude!
Yeah.
Like this whole album is ridiculous of all the top-notch musicians in CNY right now.
I'm like, well, I adore the band Trainwreck. We first got together in 1997, and it was under the guise that we're not gonna practice. So at that time, I gave him cassettes.
What are those?
Yeah, I know. So cassettes. And I said, all right, see you at the gig. And none of the endings, were the endings were horrible because nobody knew how we were going to end it. So we're all looking at each other, and much like we do today. Much like we do today. So who else? So Andy Rudy came in because I wanted him to play on Living for the City because Andy Rudy, I have no ego when it comes to Andy Rudy. He's like one of the best keyboard players ever in Central New York, and he's a complete freak genius. So I wanted him to do because I knew his part would be a little bit more interesting than mine. Tommy Hillenbrand, he played a guitar solo on my song "Please" that blew us away, everybody in the studio. He did it in about 3 takes, and we're sitting there, and you can't help but notice the melody he put out. And
he's so nonchalant about it too.
Oh, I know, right?
Matter of fact, he's like, this place. He's like, is that okay?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. And he's the sweetest guy in the world. And he goes, is that okay? And we're like, yes, you're done. You know what I mean? Because everybody in the control booth was like, holy shit. It was literally 3 takes, and he just poured out a beautiful solo. So I had a rap artist, a truth speaker, Mackay Bailey. Who's now a student at Morrisville, although obviously, the COVID, he's back at home. What a great guy. What a great young guy. Real positive, totally enthusiastic. And I hope, I wish nothing but the best for Mackay. He's just a really motivated guy. And his father, Freedom, is just one cool dad who really we all could wish we had a parent like this guy pushing us, because like when I grew up, I said I was going to be a musician. All my family was like, okay, you go to trade school, you know what I mean, to learn. So that's kind of like my. God, who else? I mean, Ron Keck was on it for percussion. Another badass, Dave King.
Dave King's a monster.
Yeah. So Dave played on one of my originals, and he also played on the cover. Living for the City, and just another legend in Central New York who is unfortunately not heard by at all is Sylvester Hagen Jr., who was in the original version of Stroke with his brother Israel Hagen, Sylvester, Joey Pachira, and Book. I mean. So like in the 80s, I'd watch these guys and go, Jesus Christ, I'll never be this good ever. You know what I mean? Like ever, So I'm sure I'm probably, am I missing anybody? They named off quite a few. So yeah.
What a lineup.
I mean,
it's insane.
Well, and here's the thing. It's like, I don't have much, I don't want to say that I have like a lot of ego, but what I love is that I love the Central New York scene. So I wanted to celebrate it by getting as many people as I could. But I didn't.
How cool is that?
So
awesome.
but I did it in a way where like I'd like to think that I picked the right musician for the right style. Because obviously I don't have the same style of music in the CD. Very very. Oh, well, Jesus! I almost forgot. Like one of the most amazing guitar players that Justin finally got to meet at my CD release party, Pete Heitzman.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and he did Blind. He did the on the dobro, which, side note, Pete Heitzman never played a dobro before. I rented a dobro that was over 90 years old. Had dirty strings on it because you don't want real bright strings on a dobro.
Sure.
And so he sat in the studio for 2 hours, like fiddling around with it. He goes, "Okay, I'm ready." And he knocked it out. And like, I mean, one of my favorite musicians ever.
I love guys like that.
One of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. Sure. And he's so him and Karen Savoca, is his partner forever. They're just insanely talented musicians. So, I couldn't be more proud.
You got the best from Syracuse and mixed in with the best from Utica. It's like a fruit salad of all the best musicians in the 315.
Yeah, like in between, because Pete is in like a Madison County area or Nida County, so like he's kind of in the middle and
sure.
Yeah. So
you went all the way up and down the thruway, man.
Yeah. In about a 70-mile radius, but yeah.
The cool thing, Z, I don't know if you know this, but when Mark did his CD release party for this, everyone that played on the record was at the CD release party and played their tune.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, except for
we
Tom.
all played the tune, we recorded with him live, and that was just it.
Yeah.
I mean, to see, like, we were all able to hang out, all those guys, all the musicians that never get to see each other. I mean, we set aside a night to go and hang with each other.
Yeah,
and,
that was great.
Enjoy that. That
was a total love fest because it
I
really.
I met Doug Macri.
Doug Macri. How could I even forget Doug? I mean, may he rest in peace. You know what I mean? That's what it means. My brain is just
sure.
And Doug was a mentor to me. Besides being I met Doug in 1989 when we were working on Casey Davidson's Earth Songs album. Mm-hmm. Doug came into the studio, and I like, who is this guy? I mean, this guy was like the most like positive human being in the world, and
sure.
And I was just devastated when we lost him.
Absolutely.
Last year,
it was a horrible blow.
Horrible blow. But I have an amazing picture of us in Subcat Studios. I have a piece, I have something. He's sitting with the guitar, like, and I'm talking to him with a piece of paper in my hand, and
sure,
and like to have him play on on my album, truly, like that's something that I'll never forget. I cherish like the friendship I had with Doug, and I think probably a lot of people would say it's like everybody thought that Doug was one of their best friends because that's who Doug was. You know what I mean? Doug was one of the most positive people you'd ever meet in your life, and gifted, unbelievably. I mean, the guitar tracks that he put on my song, Die Trying, which we pulled from the first album. I wanted to do an acoustic version of it. Doug knocked it out of the park, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, Ken Satterfield, bass player. Frank Newberg, percussion on Grenade. I had 2 trios recording off the same click track.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had 2 trios at the same time recording off the same click track, coming in, going out, coming in, going out.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. And you know, and we did it. I wanted to say it took us about 4 times. And so the acoustic trio would play first, and then the power trio, which was Lenny, Dave King, and Cremo, right?
Yes.
Would play their parts. Then
what a trio!
Right.
How about that?
Yeah, and then they'd fade out, and the acoustic trio would go back, and so all to the same click track, which is kind of lofty in a studio setting to have that happen.
Sure.
You know, but it worked out. It worked out real well. So
where do I hear this album? I need to hear this album.
I will get you a copy as you know. I'll give you my number, and you send me an address.
Is it online at all?
It's on CD, baby, but you don't have to pay for it. I'd be happy to send you a copy. And this way, here you'll have the readout. You know, you'll have the
liner notes,
the insert. Yeah, the liner notes. So you'll know everybody who played on what song. So
yeah,
man.
I got to say that the coolest thing for me, you know, I played on other people's records before, and there's countless times you go in and you sit down to record, and they're like, "This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to play it, and you know, go." And that's what I'm used to. And when we went in, you know, Mark was just like, you know, this song is kind of like your style, so you guys play it however you feel to play it, and you know, I'll give you notes from there. And, you know, I seem to remember because the whole band wasn't there, I think Jose and Jerry weren't there. And I had to record, like, he wanted us to do harmonies in certain parts. So I actually recorded all the harmony parts for the song so that they could have a scratch track when they came in to sing their parts. So that was a lot of fun, man. It was like writing harmony parts is like my favorite thing in the world to do. Yeah. So,
above me putting like 15 parts of my own.
Sure,
if you remember, I mean, stupid, but it was fun. But yeah, Justin did all that, and Justin was, you know, I'm old and cranky, so I don't say anything that I don't mean. So you know, Justin was an absolute dream to be in the studio with it. He worked so well. Yeah, I really didn't have. I knew that they would knock it out of the park, and they did. But I didn't have. I had a couple of chord requirements that I knew were important. I told him what they were, and so he put the rhythm part down first, obviously, and he followed, like, you know, a very sparse instructions that I had for a couple of chords that I really needed to have in there. You know, but other than that, you know, I just let him go. You know, and that's why that's why I said I want to pick people who who are good in the style of you know, of what the song is, you know,
because there are a bunch of different styles on that record. I mean, there really is. I mean, like there's something for everyone on that record, which you know, I absolutely loved it when it came out. I still listen to it from front to back every time, you know, because you can't. It's one of those albums that, like, I feel like you can't just go on and listen to one song, but because, like, from start to finish, it sets up a whole, like, it just sets up a whole feeling for you. I mean, there's ups and downs, and I mean, the track listing, the way you did it, you could tell that you took your time on that as well. So I mean, it's something that you want to listen to from front to back.
I appreciate that, Justin. Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely send that out to you.
How did you two meet? How long have you two known each other?
Jesus, Justin, how long has it been, man?
God, man. Well, I feel like I met you because we've been playing. This would have been our 21st year at Dakers. Yeah. And playing the holiday weekends.
Right.
And Tal likes to do. He'll do like stuff on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. Where, like, you know, an acoustic act will come in at like 1:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. And you know, when I was a tad bit younger, you know, we would really get into it at night. Like, we'd stay up, you know, with the bartenders. The bartenders don't leave that place until like 5 a.m. because they're getting everything ready.
True story. Story.
So, like, you know, we get done. Like, sometimes we'd stay there. So.
Did we lose him? Did he drop out?
Damn it,
and
Justin.
And this Frozen Justin moment is brought to you by EJA Moving Services. Hit them up today when you're ready to move and relocate at EJAmoving.com. And maybe we could get
Here.
Justin. Maybe we
There
could
he
get EJA. There he is.
I see him.
What happened?
We had to thaw you out.
I don't know, dude. You were in a
that
nitrous
sucks.
balloon or something.
All right, oh man, we went to commercial too. I see that. Todd went to commercial on that. I see that.
Wow.
That's
No,
horrible.
I went to commercial.
Where was I?
I love it.
But you were talking
You
about
were talking about Dakers and Memorial Day weekend and how you guys met.
Yeah, so like we would go to bed like super early the next morning, and then we wake up the next day, and by the time we woke up, the guy on Sunday would be playing, and so we'd stick around and hang out. And I mean, that's the earliest I can remember seeing Mark was like probably back in the late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. But you guys
on a Sunday here and there.
And you guys were playing, like, when did you start playing the staff party on the boat?
We did that the first year. It was like 21 years ago, and I won't ever forget that because two things happened. And I hope Tail's not watching because I don't think I'm supposed to talk about this. But every year they do an employee appreciation party. They call it the Booze Cruise, and we were invited to play. It's like on a Tuesday, you know what I mean? Because nobody does anything on Tuesdays. We all hop on a boat in Old Forge, right at Dakers. They pick us up on the cruise boats that they have up there, and we cruise around Fourth Lake. We go to the into town, and we do our thing. And
awesome.
and he always has us play. We'll play on the boat. So we set up and we go to play, and we're out in the middle of Fourth Lake, and we have to play a song with a capo, and I don't have one. And so there's a picture of Paul Case sitting there holding my guitar where the capo would go with this look on his face like this, and he's holding the capo, and he held it for the whole entire song, which is great, So, and that same exact ride, there were a whole bunch of naked women jumping off the top deck into the water. It was insane. And anytime Tal has asked us to play from then on, we are always there.
yeah. It's not to be missed. Yeah.
No, definitely not. Definitely
not.
But
when I drank heavily, that. Jesus.
Oh yeah.
That was wow.
Yeah, you want to stay at that point. Tuesday, you're staying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, but like, what about? Did you? Maybe you didn't come. Did you come to the Valley Brook on Tuesdays?
I was there a few times. Yep.
Yeah, you were real young. Probably were you underage?
Yeah, I was definitally underage.
Yeah. Well,
that's
all right.
Here's the difference. The difference between underage Justin and underage people in general was that the bar owners. I played for most of them, so they knew that at the time I wouldn't drink when I went into a bar because that was to me. You know what I mean? So so I would go there just to hear the music because I'm a sponge. I still, even though I can drink legally in the bar, I can go in and I'll have a couple drinks because I really enjoy soaking in the music and trying to gather inspiration for myself when I'm there. So anytime I went to see Mark, I used to go see John at Southside Pub on Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah.
When he played down there. I was only 15 when I started going there to watch him. That's when I met John.
Yeah.
And so I met all you guys right around the same time. I still haven't met Danny Holmes.
You haven't met, or you didn't? You have?
I have not met. I've not met Danny Holmes. I still have not met Todd Holman in person.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so happy I got a chance to meet Doug before he passed. He got a chance to come up and jam with Showtime too in Syracuse one night. So that was a good time.
Oh, great! Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good. So, anytime Doug sits in, you got to hear this guy sing.
Oh my God,
Jesus!
He does a killer Don Henley. I'll tell you that when they did the Hotel California, the whole album from front to back, and he did. I think it was. I can't remember the song he did. What the whole song?
Did he do Take It to the Limit, or was that?
No, he did. I think it was Wasted Time.
Oh, Desperado too. I think he did Desperado.
Yeah, but it was
right?
whatever the ballad is on Hotel California. The album.
I think Wasted Time. That might be it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's a video of him doing that, and like you literally see, you watch this thing and you just go, your mouth just hangs open watching it because he's that good.
You see what I mean? See, that's what it is. That's what we have here. And I'm all over the place, and I'm not really good at this kind of thing. But when I was talking about living in Orlando and not meeting a lot of great musicians off the bat, so one of the worst things about Central New York is one of the best things about Central New York. Okay, and what it is that the lack of opportunity we have here because of our climate. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. The summer, everybody can get work, and it's like, because everybody's doing the seasonal things. But when it starts to, when the weather turns, really the cream has to rise to the top. And what that does is that hones you, that like you're making your bones on it, that hones you to go anywhere else in the country. You know what I mean? I would put Central New York musicians up against anybody in the country. You know what I mean? I played them. I played, all up and down the East Coast. I played in the Midwest, Chicago, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio. All the states, in the Eastern Seaboard. I mean, I've been there. I see it. You know what I mean? I would put, I would pick, Central New York musicians. I put them up against anybody, and that's the thing that like in a place in Orlando where, like I said, the opportunity is so vast that and so what happens too is like a lot of the pay is mediocre down there, and it took me years to find like really serious venues that really recognized good talent and wanted to keep it,
right?
And then they paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and so that was kind of the point I was trying to lead to, is that the concentration of what we have because of our climate and lack of opportunity, that we are honed, because of the fact that if you want to work, if you want to eat, you know what I mean, you're going to have to step up your game. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Especially now, because there's not many bars left to play anymore in the winter. You know what I mean? Like in the wintertime, I mean, the places to play are sparse. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, you had a bar on every corner. I mean, it was great. It was, we all had work.
Right.
But now, I mean, it's tough. I mean, if you're just coming up and you haven't proved yourself yet, good luck trying to find a place to play in the winter. And it's sad to think, but I mean, that's the world we live in now. So
and not for nothing, but as long as I've been doing this around here, I moved back to Syracuse last June, right? Yep. So it's my first winter in 15 years, and I knew I was going to get my ass handed to me, and I did. I mean, the work is just not that plentiful, and it's like, if you got an overhead, that can be kind of scary, Yeah. So I'm in the trenches just like everybody else. I don't care how much, how many years I have into this. It just is what it is up here.
Sure.
So, and who knows? I mean, Justin's done it. We've all done it. We've all made a night. We've all picked a night at a club to try to make our room. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? But all the other clubs that are really healthy at what they do, you ride that wave. You ride it for years. You know what I mean? Showtime's one of the only bands that I know of that can play a place, 3 places in a 1 block radius, and draw at each place.
That's true.
That is not easy to do. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Because I know a lot of other guys that do it, and they brag about, on Facebook, so, I'm playing here, I'm playing here, I'm playing here. But there's nobody there. They totally spread themselves too thin. They got a dozen people and it's like, I never subscribed to that myself, but it says something about Showtime, the fact that they still have and the trio, has all this draw power, and they can still do it. But that's a rarity. That's a rarity that you can
You're
play
right.
three places in 1 block and put bodies in each place.
Right.
So so I my hat's off to you for that, brother.
Indeed.
I appreciate it. I'm worse at compliments than you are too.
What's that?
I said I'm worse at compliments than you are, so I'm just going to sit here and smile.
That's a contest, I'll tell you what. I just I've never been. And people go to me, shut up and take the compliment. It's like, okay. So that's.
I'd like to back up a little bit and talk about. I want to talk about a couple people. So a couple people that you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
One, I want a good Lenny Milano story.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. Well, good Lenny Milano story.
There's so many.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, all right, Lenny Milano is absolutely one of my most precious favorite people in the world. Lenny.
Seriously.
I met Lenny.
Same.
I met Lenny when I played with Danny. Danny Holmes was one of the most fearless mother efforts that you'd ever seen in your life. Danny didn't care.
You could say it. You could say it.
Yeah, I know. But Danny didn't care about like being polished or whatever else like that, and he still was a force, And he would say, "Okay, we're going to do this song in this key." Never did it before, you know what I mean? So maybe I got some of that train wreck thing from Danny because he just had no fear. Danny had no fear. So he would call Paul or Lenny Milano to come down and sit in. That I remember one time at the Devereaux, and I think that's might have when I actually met Lenny face to face. Now, because I've been watching Vinny and the Butchers, with Paul Androsa, who Paul Androsa, was on my second and first album, and one of my favorite people in the world. Obviously him, Cremo, and Lenny. I mean, now you're talking the most insane trio ever. No offense to Showtime.
No offense taken, man.
But I mean, holy cow!
I agree.
And then so Vinny and the Butchers did a reunion at the Trainwreck gig last year.
Yep.
At Harpoonetti's, and it was like they never even stopped. You know what I mean? They played "Driven to Tears" by Police. I mean, they didn't miss a beat. It was unbelievable, right? And just so, but so I met Lenny, and so one of the things that Lenny can do is Lenny can follow you into hell and back. Lenny has he really does. I don't know if I have like real good Lenny stories per se, because I guess because I've been blessed with a lot of experience with Lenny. He's been on every album of mine, and he was obviously the only drummer on my first album, and I had 3 different drummers on my second album, Lenny being one of them. Now Lenny's all over the latest album, Still Human, which Showtime's on and everything. I will say that when we started Trainwreck, one of our gigs was on Halloween night in 1997, and I came as a baby. I had underwear on, but I had a diaper on, and I took baby Ruths and I unwrapped them and I put them in my diaper. Okay, but I had underwear on, right? So, but I had people in the bar eating baby Ruths out of my diaper. Now, obviously, so I handed it to him. Let's put that disclaimer out there. But I'll never forget Lenny, because Lenny goes, Mark, I can't get rid of the image of you shaking your ass in that diaper in front of me. Like the whole time he was totally traumatized by that, and that became, what the Trainwreck, the thing was. But I'm not sure I have. Oh, I'll tell you this though. All right, I'll tell you one from the first album, and it's more, not really so funny, but it's more about his talent.
The dude's a clock.
Oh, sure. Well, that's why his nickname is TK. I call him TK. Not a lot of people do, but I call him, and it says Tempo King. You know what I mean? So, but believe me, the Trainwreck gigs, it's not so much. We all get excited, and he's still our rock. But I had a song called "Justice After All" on my first album, and Lenny didn't want to do it with the click track. We started him on a click track, and we turned it off. By the end of the song, he was off by 1 beat per minute.
Yeah, I believe
per minute. Yeah, he was off by 1 beat per minute. So he basically stayed in tempo like the whole time without a click track in his ear. I mean, so, in the studio, Lenny has really shined. He does shine in the studio because Lenny has this brain, it's just like a steel trap, right? I mean, he remembers everything.
Everything.
Right.
And when you get on the phone with him, believe me, he'll tell you everything because you can't get him off the phone. Holy shit!
Well, that's the joke we've had is that we'd love to have him on the show, but I mean we'd have to block out like 3-4 hours.
You might or tell him that it's gonna stop at 3:20 so you can be done by 4. You know what I mean? So
we'll make a 3-part session. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. I mean, I would love to see. I would love to see that. I'd love to see Lenny on it because Lenny is a wealth of knowledge.
Oh my God, yeah.
Lenny is a wealth of knowledge, and that's like guys like Los Blancos. You ask any of those guys the origins of what they do, and they know it, no matter how far back it goes. You know what I mean? And that's another thing too. Like some of the people that I've worked with that are a wealth of knowledge. It's just that's what you love. They're playing is one thing, but you love the fact that they know so much, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's irreplaceable, you know. So you can't. That's a precious thing, you know. So you can learn a lot. So no real funny Lenny story. I'll probably think of like 10 of them when we're off this thing. But,
sure.
But I've had so much time with him, you know, and he's obviously he's late to everything. And if he's watching, you know, you know, his
son's the same way. Trust me.
Oh, is he really?
I see about that.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
we do. Every
comes with the name,
Thursday,
right?
Every single Thursday we play at Dick Smith's with Lenny Jr. and he, you know, we tell him, you know, we want to be ready to be started by 9:30, and he has to set up drums every time he comes. 25 after 9, he's showing up. We don't start till 10:30. You know, you know what I mean? It's like it is what it is, but you know, we're used to it by now. But you know, it's funny how it happens. He's like, oh yeah, my jeans that I wanted to wear tonight, I wanted to make sure that they were clean. So you know, they were in the dryer to wait for them to dry, and you know, it's the same. You know. It's funny.
Well, I have been tempted to put up signs around this when he gets there to set up that say "Don't talk to the drummer," because once you do, he'll talk to you. And, you know,
he'll stop, come out in front of the stage. He'll come out in front of the stage.
Absolutely.
You want to go have a beer quick? You know, I got some time. Let's go have a beer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's hysterical.
That's where we're at with Lenny. But you know, you know, he is one. But Lenny Milano will never lie to you.
Nope.
That's for sure. He does not have the genetic makeup to lie to you. He won't do it.
No, he doesn't.
You know.
No.
He's one of the coolest people you'll ever meet in your life. You know.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I adore him. You know.
Yeah.
So, I'm lucky.
The other one, there was one other one I had to switch to.
Okay.
The one I refer to him as the Champ, and the reason why when I owned the electric company back for a while there, we would play air hockey or bubble hockey till like 3, 4, 5 in the morning sometimes, and that's John Liebing. And John Liebing and I would stay in the bar till 5 in the morning playing bubble hockey. We'd spend $50, $60, $70, $80 pumping that machine up. and we would go on hours and hours and hours. And I still call him the Champ because probably in about 2008, that man could not be touched in bubble hockey. He was unbelievable. But John Liebing has a place in my heart for that dude. I really do. I love that guy so much.
I'll tell you what, he has a place in all of our hearts. You know what I mean? And the thing is John's a dick. Okay. John's a dick because he is so goddamn talented. It doesn't matter what he does. He's good at it. You know what I mean? You know, so air hockey doesn't play golf with him sometimes. He shoots in the 70s.
My God. He's just
I know.
Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, God, I have so many stories about John. I don't know which ones I should tell. But I worked with him for about a good 2.5 years straight, pretty much almost every Tuesday. I think I took one off because I had my wisdom teeth out or something. Yeah. You know, but literally, so I mean, we had a real good run at the Valley Brook. I mean, just a fantastic run, and you know, and the appreciation. You know, people were clapping in the beginning of songs, at the end of songs. We told jokes. We fucked around. It doesn't matter what we did. It was a love fest, man. You know, we had very loyal people that came out week after week after week. Yeah. And of course the underagers had to pay more to get in. You know, but John.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. John is just John. I'll tell you a great quote from Danny Holmes about John Liebing. Danny said, John is the only one that could fall down a set of stairs and make it sound like a song.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a good quote.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. You know, John's like just a beat. And I tell people too, I go, you want to see somebody that plays acoustic guitar like nobody else, has their own approach to it, go see John Liebing, because nobody plays like John. And that's not. I mean, Justin's a fine player, but nobody plays the approach. Nobody has the approach that the acoustic guitar that John has. Right?
Have you ever played his guitar at one of his shows? Like he'll hand you his guitar and play a song. You know, and like I'll get up with the guitar and I'll start playing it, and I'm like, wait a minute, why doesn't it sound like it does when he plays it? And you know, obviously, you know, all like guitarists, piano players, same thing. Everybody has their own touch, their own style. And that's the running joke is that, you know, you know, I could buy all the gear I want to sound like this guy, but when I step on stage and play with that equipment, I'm going to sound like me. You know what I mean? Because everybody has their own stuff. But it is not more true than playing on John Liebing's equipment.
Yeah.
John Liebing sounds like the guitar's full. It doesn't feed back. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You get up on stage and you try to play his guitar, and you're like, why is it so woofy? Why is it so bright in this sense? And, you know, he's walking up tuning the guitar while you're trying to play, you know, because he hears that shit. You know?
It's you know, John, like the ear that he has for his own detail. And you know, if you know John as a person, you look at him and go, God, Jesus, what is this goober doing? You know what I mean? It's like, but like when it comes to what he does, he has this innate, I don't even know what to call it, but his ear for his own detail and his own perfection that he wants to relay is just, it's insane. And Justin's exactly right. His sound is like not duplicated by anyone. His approach is all of his own. And I tell people, go, you want to go to school? Go look at John Liebing play. You know what I mean? And you know, so, and you know, Pete Heitzman too is like, you know, Pete has his own, you know, like his own thing. And it's like,
and, you know, Liebing's a machine too. It's like, you know, not to get off topic talking about Mark here, but Liebing, I think, is an inspiration to all of us. But, I mean, I'll not, the guy's a machine. Like we showed up at Harpoon Eddie's one day because he always, like Harpoon Eddie's, I think on Saturdays he does an early show, late show. Yeah. And so we show up and it's like 95 degrees, 100% humidity, and there's John on the stage sweating profusely
in a flannel shirt.
He gets talking about a song. He turns and he does his Tim Rusick impression. He's like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, I've been playing 4 hours, no break. I've been playing 4 hours, no break. You know, I'm looking to get done. You know, you want to come up and do a song?" I'm like, "Dude, I'll come up and I'll do a song with you. Absolutely, my God, give you a break." You know, I mean, the guy literally, I mean, he's, you know, 50 years old, 50-something years old, and he's playing 4 hours straight with no break. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's 95 degrees out. You know, Rick's not going to be mad that you're taking a break. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one story about John Liebing and I, okay? And this is one I can tell because the rest of them are probably too personal. I mean, I know John well, and I've seen some shit. I mean, when it comes to John. But we were riding a bicycle up wooden planks up the Valley Brook stairs.
Oh my God.
Okay. And we're taking turns. And John's going, man, I think somebody's going to get hurt. I don't think this is a good idea. I take the bike, I go up the plank, I go right over the railing and crack my head open. Like I crack my head open on the like the rocks that are around the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in the Valley Brook, like with my head and like ice on my head, like trying to stop the bleeding. And he goes, "Sorry, Mark. Mark. Sorry, Mark." Yeah. So that was, as soon as he said, you know, this isn't a good idea. Somebody's gonna get hurt. It was me. So you know, but too many stories about John. Like I could, you know, I'm glad he's where he's at today because I was worried about him today. And so, you know, so was everybody else. You know, I don't think that's not a secret. I don't think I'd be saying anything that would be, you know, hurtful to John. So, but you know, I used to watch him, you know, obviously I was very close and worked with him every week for 2.5 years, you know? So, but absolute monster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Good run with the Beatles tribute too, with Plastic Soul.
Oh God,
And for him to hop over to the drums and sing harmonies too, it just
you ever hear him talk
shows
about
you
it?
how versatile he is.
You ever hear him talk about it? He's like, "I'm not a drummer, you know, I like to play and stuff." And it was kind of challenging to have to play drums for a whole show. So I figured I'd try it. I mean, like the way he talks about it, he's like, you know, I did okay. And it's like, I mean, he had the head movement. He had the hi-hat scrape like Ringo did. The whole thing. He did the whole thing, man.
Hence why I call him a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He just, you know, it's just nothing he can't do, you know?
No.
It's just, he's crazy, you know? It's just
there's one thing he won't do is come on the show.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I've asked him so many times. We'll get to it though. I'm sure one day
he's a pussy.
If I keep pestering him, he'll do it.
I hope so. Don't let him.
Hey, see, I gotta do one thing.
Yeah, brother, go ahead, man.
I gotta do one thing. Tim Moyer. That's it.
Oh yes, we gotta keep the streak going.
We gotta keep the streak going. Yeah, Tim Moyer, the lead singer of Gridley Page. Mark, I know you know him, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So it seems that
we just got to mention his name.
Yeah, every single week he gets brought up, and somebody breaks his balls, makes fun of him, does something. But every week, we try to keep the streak alive. So I just had to say his name so we get it out of the way. But now back to business.
No, he did a great song on for the MV, home show.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did.
Yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, he did a great job.
Did you end up seeing that or no? Did you see anybody?
No.
Like I know some artists have been posting their things on
you guys did, and Tim did. Yep. I don't know if anybody else. I haven't seen many else yet, but it's not like I've been looking for them either. But I was just bummed. I wanted to see everybody else's performance. I didn't care about seeing me. I'm sick of me.
Here's the funny thing. You want to know how funny cable is? Everybody's. I was like a group while that whole thing's going on. I'm like a Facebook group message thing, and everybody's complaining about this high pitched hiss that they can hear. It's like going. It's all distorted.
Yeah.
And I'm watching. I got Hulu Live. Like the things. I dropped cable, so I got Hulu Live, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This sounds great. I'm like, I have no qualms about the sound of anything. I said, it sounds incredible. And they're like, what are you listening to? But I come to find out, I guess the cable feed was all messed up, and the digital feed that was going to Hulu Live and stuff, it sounded great. Everything was wonderful. So, I mean, I kind of felt bad because I was hoping that, I think if everybody else could have heard what I heard, I mean, they would have been, really pleased with it, and I mean, I guess what I could say with this whole pandemic thing and technology is that I just don't think that technology, obviously didn't know it was coming and didn't have a chance to catch up and roll with it, with the needs that everybody has right now, especially musicians. We can't do Zoom. You have to do all this newfangled stuff to try to get, it heard with a mixer. Otherwise, you're doing it by yourself, and sometimes that doesn't sound right. I mean, I just really truly believe that if technology had known, hey, next year there's going to be a pandemic for 6 months.
Really?
You bet your ass they would have been coming out with something to make it easier for musicians to do what they do. But unfortunately, we're not there. So we're making do. We're doing the best we can.
A total bias to Android phones too. It's crazy. I know Justin's a big Apple guy, and that's fine. But it's like there are no products that will go into an Android phone, like the interface. Not that I've seen. I mean, I'm frustrated. I've spent a lot of money to try to figure it out because I want the one thing, Yeah, I mean, the one thing is I can honestly say that even going back to when digital recording first started, this is like Android. Like if you were to put it to like PC and Mac, okay, you'd have Android is on the PC side, Mac is on is the iOS, and Mac is on that side. Now, notoriously, if you were doing something for business, if you're doing something gaming-wise, then PC and Android is where you want to go. If you're doing something musically or artistically, then the Mac is where you want to go. They have not wavered from that. I mean, Macs and Apple products are on top when it comes to that. And PCs, I mean, I had a PC recording studio back years ago, and I could not get it to work for the life of me because they just didn't put in the same amount of effort with PC that they did with the Mac because they knew that all the big guys are using Macs. So that's what I think is the problem with that. Is that Android's a great phone, iPhones are great phones. It's whatever you're used to, but when it comes to recording and artistic stuff, video editing, anything like that, you got to have a Mac. You got to have an Apple product. And that's just the way that they've made it, unfortunately. World domination, bastards.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got on a tangent there.
Yeah, it's all good. That's why I have you here, so you could go on a tangent. It saves from my tangents. I love it, though, Mark. This has been great to hang out, man.
Oh man,
Can people check out your music online? Give a little plug to your website just social media.
My name, Mark with a K, is important. A lot of people want to see, and Macri, Macri. A lot of people reverse the R and the C in my last name, Mark Mercy, and that's why I can't find your stuff. So it's like, you got to spell it right. That's why, So markmacri, .com, the website. There's obviously not a lot on my website right now, just because nobody's gigging, and I'm going to be actually taking my website over from my cousin's business. So that's another new, endeavor that I'm going to try and do, and mess with the content and stuff. And of course, Mark Macri under Facebook too. I'm not on Twitter yet, although I keep threatening that I'm going to be, or Instagram. I'm totally, I'm about 2 steps from being Amish. So, that's, so, yeah. So if you can spell my name right, Mark Macri, you can find me. It's real easy. So markmacri.com or just on Facebook. So I'd love to hear from anybody. So, and then
Awesome,
iTunes, CD Baby, so you pull my name up on there. All 3 albums are on.
Yeah, please get the new record if you can. Go to cdbaby.com, get the new record. It is, it's not so new anymore, I guess. But
it's 4 years old. Well,
4 years old now.
Not quite 4 years old. Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, if you're looking for some good timeless music to listen to, I mean, that's where you got to go. Just get it.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Z-Man,
Awesome.
I had a ball.
I'm glad you did. And when this all comes back from COVID, man, hopefully we can get together and have a beer together or hang out in Baldwinsville one of these days. Or
count me in. I'm happy this was my first podcast experience. Couldn't answer better. So
awesome, man.
Pop your cherry.
yeah. I feel fine. I feel good. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So no, thanks. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for coming, Justin. We should let everybody know that next week we're going to take it off because it's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. We're taking it off to surprise drink.
Oh,
yes, we're going to do it.
And happy early birthday.
You know what?
Thank you, Mark.
Yes, and happy early birthday to you, Justin. Yeah. Maybe I should come hang out with you on Monday. We'll go live on our Facebook or something.
I'm in, man. Let's do it. I got to say that contrary to popular belief, I'll only be 39 tomorrow, even though I look 50. So I will only be 39 tomorrow.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. I think this whole thing has aged everybody about 20 years, for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
my God. Yeah. So, yeah.
Justin, so you're going to live stream tomorrow for your birthday, right? Give a little plug to that.
I'm going to go live tomorrow on my fan page, I guess, because it seems that, I guess that when you go live on a fan page, that it notifies all your fans that you're going live. So it's an easier way to get people, to watch you. And, so for my birthday, I'm doing a happy hour thing at 6:00 from my backyard fire.
Cool.
Awesome.
So tune in.
Awesome.
Cool.
It's going to be a little campfire songs with Justin Smithson tomorrow. Live on Facebook. It's going to be off the charts. I'm looking forward to that.
Love it. I'll definitely check in.
Thanks, brother.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to give a shout out to EJA Moving Services for always supporting us here at the D. You can check them out at ejamoving.com. If you're ready to move and relocate, you want to move your studio, your gym equipment, you want to move your mom to the old folks home, they will do all that for you. ejamoving.com. Eddie's cool, man. He's got a great crew, great staff. They're easy to work with, great guys. And like I said, if you want to move anywhere, he'll move you to Japan. It's going to cost you a little bit, but he'll move you pretty much wherever you need to go. Nice. ejamoving.com. Tell him Uncle Z sent you. He might give you a discount. You never know. I don't know.
Never know.
Also,
or he might charge you more.
Yeah, he might charge you more. You don't. It depends on what kind of mood he's in and how he's feeling towards me that day. That's usually that factors into the equation. Yeah.
See, reach out to me on Messenger, and then I'll give me your address, and I'll mail you out a CD.
I would love that. We'll
be on after this, Mark. We'll be on after this for a little bit. So.
Oh yeah, I gotta. Go ahead.
Also, I got to give love to Saranac Brewery. I got to give love to Utica Coffee, Utica Hemp, and, of course, my good friend, attorney Dave Longaretta. If you need legal help, call Dave at 315-735-6162. I'm sorry, my notes are over there, and I can't see on the line, and I should be wearing glasses. But call Dave, 315-735-6162, if you need legal help. He's been bailing me out of trouble since, like, the early 90s. So if I'm out of jail, he'll keep you out of jail, and I can guarantee you that. So.
Right. I like it.
Justin, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
You guys. Shout out to our man behind the scenes, Todd Williams. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Man. Appreciate it.
Todd crushes it, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Local Music Monday in the books. Peace.
Thank you.